Welcome everybody to a look at the fourth film in the Rack and Ruin Eureka box set, and it is 1947's Marriage in the Shadows. So this is directed by Kurt Meitzig, who I've also seen another film from, and that was The Silent Star, which was part of another German-focused box set from Eureka, although that was more sci-fi. And yeah, this is a drama clocking in at 102 minutes long. Stars Ilse Steppat, who was also in Creature with the Blue Hand, but most people will know her as Irma Bunt in On Her Majesty's Service. She played as Blofeld's henchwoman and assistant. Unfortunately, she died only 4 days after that film premiered, so she never really got the chance to capitalise on that. But she was great in that film, and she's really good in this one as well, although she looks nothing like she did by the time the 60s rolled around. Also stars Klaus Holm, who was in Police Raid, her previous film in this box set, and another film in another box set from Eureka, The Curse of the Yellow Snake, which was part of the Walter. I can't remember now. I can't quite see it from here, but it was part of another box set. It wasn't. It was my least favorite film in that box set, but it wasn't because of him, and yeah, he's certainly a good asset to this film as well. So, set during the rise of the Nazi regime, Elizabeth Maurer and Hans Wieland enjoy successful careers as actors in Berlin. Confident in her career, Elizabeth, who is Jewish, ignores the advice of a colleague to leave Germany in the face of increasing anti-Semitism. Believing that he can protect her if she becomes his wife, Hans convinces Elizabeth to marry him. In the following years, as Hans' career thrives, Elizabeth awaits the end of the Nazi terror which bars her from public life. However, when the situation worsens in 1938 with the Kristallnacht program, also known as the Night of Glass, due to the huge amount of Jewish businesses that had their windows and such broken, Elizabeth decides to leave the country, but Hans, who still believes he can protect her, convinces her to stay with him. So this takes place over three separate periods. Starts off in 1933, they get married during that year, skips ahead to 1938, where we have Kristallnacht happen, so that really does intensify the whole mood of the film, because it's clear that anti-Semitism isn't something that's going to go away, and yeah, it's getting more and more serious. And then we flick another 5 years forward to 1943, where we're in the midst of World War II, Berlin is under bombardment, and yeah, fear of getting caught in a Jewish and a non-Jewish marriage is also increasing as yeah, marriages between non-Jewish people and Jewish people was heavily you know, I guess you could say censored and regulated. And if your husband as a Jewish person died in the war, because most men were enlisted into the German army, then you'd lose all of your rations and you'd actually get killed after your husband has been killed as well. So, or at least put in a concentration camp. So, yeah, that does add a lot of, you know, intensity to the film itself. But given the subject of the plot overall, I was expecting a far grittier and more tension-filled film. It's yeah, nowhere near as gritty as it could have been, and yeah, nowhere near as tense as it could have been as well. You really don't overly feel like the the doors are closing in on them or whatever. So, but what we do have is still a thoroughly engrossing film that is also a respectable effort, given it provides just a glimpse of the horrors of the Nazi regime so soon after the end of World War II, because obviously it's only a couple of years after. The lead cast is also great, especially the two leads, that play Elizabeth and Hans. You really do get to understand their relationship over a period of time. It is also well paced. The narrative structure is well executed with its two time jumps, like I said. The cinematography is on point, the characterization is solid, and the production is convincingly done as well. Just wish, yeah, it had a bit more grit to it and was a lot more tense, because it really does feel like it should have that kind of tension to it. But still, it's a solid film, and it's another 4 out of 5 in this box set. Better than the Police Raid one from the previous previous review, which was a previous film in this box set. And on the whole, matches the likes of The Murderers Are Among Us and Somewhere in Berlin. Although you could argue that it's not as much of a Rubble film. Although I would also argue that it's kind of a precursor to the whole idea of a Rubble film, because obviously it's setting the kind of foundations for why the Rubble film was able to become a thing of itself, because obviously this is charting the course of the rise of the Nazi regime and therefore the eventual destruction of Berlin once the Nazis lost. So yeah, it's definitely setting the kind of foundations for the Rubble film, but it isn't a Rubble film in its own right, nowhere near as much as even Police Raid, because even though that in of itself wasn't really a Rubble film, it still had some of the destruction of Berlin as a backdrop, and certain scenes were set within it. But yeah, this is less than that, but it's still also a really, really good drama in its own right. And yeah, the cast is really great as well. So yeah, even though there are elements to it that I wish were more prevalent, it is still on the whole really, really good. And in terms of extras, we've got another film that has been restored as well as it can be. Obviously, the film elements post World War II were not up to normal standards, so they've done the best they can. It certainly probably looks a little bit better than the Police Raid did, but it's not quite as good as the first two. Then we've got new commentary on the film by DEFA historian Sean Allen. Then just flick through all of these. Then we've got Confronting the Past, new interview with Jewish studies scholar Sue Weiss on the film. And any more? Obviously, we do have the Death Camp short film as part of this disc. It does. I haven't watched it myself. I just feel like it's going to be way too depressing to watch. But it is there, and it is probably more of a complimentary to this one than any of the other films in this box set, because obviously the Concentrants are brought up, and you do see people getting taken away once their husbands die, and there's the Nazi regime saw no use to keep giving rations to Jewish people that no longer had a husband who was fighting for them. So yeah, that definitely does play a role. That's probably the main extra on this release. We've also got the Eyewitness 1947/1953 archival newsreel featuring a report on the making of Marriage in the Shadows. And yeah, so yeah, pretty decent amount of extras there. But I don't really go in for audio commentaries on the whole, to be honest. I can see why some people do, but I rarely watch a film twice in a given year. So it's not something I've watched myself. But you know, if it comes around to me wanting to watch a film again, I might well put the audio commentary on alongside it. But still, it's another solid 4 out of 5. So that's, yeah, 3 out of 4 that I've given 4 out of 5 so far. And even then, Police Raid only got 3.5 out of 5, so it wasn't drastically worse than the other 3. But hopefully, the fifth and final film, The Blum Affair, which we have on the reverse of here, is as good as, if not better, than the other films in this box set. But nonetheless, thank you for watching. If you have seen this film before, I'd like to hear your thoughts on it. And yeah, I'll see you in the next one. Bye.